Okay, I have 7:02. Apologize for the 2-minute delay. 7:02 will call to order the Zoning Board of Review, Town of North Smithfield, Tuesday, September 27, 2022. Roll call, please. Here. Here.
Here. Here.
Item 3, disclosure of no compensation or pension credits received by board members. All the members seated here are appointed by the town council and receive no compensation. Item 4 on the agenda, disclosure and notice. Zoning Board of Review members shall disclose any ex parte communications about any contested or material adjudicatory facts or opinions concerning the merits of any application before the Zoning Board of Review. Item 5, approval of the minutes from August 23rd of 23rd and 30th. We did get both of 2022. They were sent out, in plenty of time. It was at least 2-3 weeks ago. So if all members had an opportunity to read, unless there are any revisions or corrections, I'll entertain a motion to accept.
I'll make the motion. Accept the 23rd? Two separate, right?
We can do them both. They're just administrative things. We'll accept both at the same time. Second, we have a second.
I'll second the motion.
Yeah, 23rd and the 30th. We have Mr. Marcantonio, Mr. DeZio. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item 6 is approval of the decision for ZBA application by Island Solar LLC. This was the ZBA action on the planning board decision from August 30th of 2022. That was sent out last night or this morning. Did all members have a chance to review it? If there are any additions or corrections, please speak. If not, we can take a motion, entertain a motion to approve.
I'll give you a motion to accept the decision for the ZB application for Island Solar.
A second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Well, you can stay. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm late.
Oh, just let the record show Mr. Pasquarello is now present. Tiffany, I'll sign this. I'll sign your copy at the end. Okay. Item number 7 will be the application of Tech Realty LLC. I will turn over the chair to Mr. Martin, the vice chair, and he can take it from here.
Okay, we have on item number 7 is the continuance, the application of Tech Realty LLC, owner applicant to construct a 23,700 square foot commercial building on the property at 0 Central Street, AP1, Lot 461. The property is located in a mixed-use 2 zoning district, according to Section 5.4.105 of the ordinance. The proposed light industrial use of the building is allowed by right in an MU2 zoning district. The applicant is seeking a dimensional variance pursuant to Section 9.3.1 of the North Smithfield zoning ordinance. The applicant is seeking dimensional relief from Section 12.11, front, side, and rear setbacks, and Section 12.11, 14, storage and loading area. Counselor?
I did it again. If you recall from last month, there were several items requested by the board members. I think it's 3 of them. 2 out of 3 have been provided. The last one deals solely with the buffering of the loading dock. And you had asked for more detail about the landscaping and potentially some type of rendering. That is not quite there yet. And we do want to show you a level of detail it's typical for preliminary plan review, but we want to get it there before we come back to you, so you know kind of what that looks like, what the berm we talked about looks like. So we just need a little bit more time to get it to the point where we want to show you what we're talking about. So I've asked, I have a conflict on the 11th, your next meeting, so we've asked to be heard on the October 25th, your second meeting.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to move the applicants to the 10:25 meeting.
I'll make a motion to accept the request of continuance to October 25th.
May I hear a second? Second. Okay, so do I have to roll call on that, or just a regular roll call vote?
Mr. Martin?
Yes?
Mr. Pasquarello?
Yes.
Mr. Marcantonio?
Yes.
Mr. DeZio?
Yes.
Mr. Marston?
Yes.
Okay, so that will conclude number 7. Just for anybody that's here from
Thank
the
you.
public, it will be continued on 10:25. There'll be no discussion on this tonight because of the continuance. So at this point, I'm going to turn it back over to the chairman for number 8.
Thank you. We'll take just a moment if anyone wants to leave so that we don't interrupt the next applicant. Okay, item 8, new business, is the application of Vincent J. Mezzalella Jr. for dimensional variance. Property is located at 0 Minden Road, North Smithfield. Assessors Plat 3, Lot 289. Property is an RA zone district. Applicant is seeking a dimensional variance to construct a single-family residence on a pre-existing non-conforming lot of record. Applicant is seeking relief from Section 5, Table 5.5.1 RA, minimum lot area, minimum front yard setback, and minimum rear yard setback. Counselor or representative, please? Oh, hold on, one
we'll
moment,
get
my
into the
mistake,
exhibit.
my mistake. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me introduce the information to the record. So I have P1 will be the application.
19 pages.
It's 19 pages. It's the standard application. Do we have a number on that, zoning
In it-
official? You can get back to us, but, okay. We'll put the number on the app when we get it. P2 is a single-page letter dated August 12th from Mancini Carter, attorneys at law, and it's regarding this application. It's entitled to Mr. Carl Johnson, zoning official. P3 would be the quitclaim deed. 2 pages. Shows it was recorded, received for record on February 10th of '05. P4 would be the 200-foot map radius, single sheet, prepared by Princip Company, Engineering Division, Tiverton, Rhode Island. It's dated 8/9/22. P5 will be proposed site plan prepared by the same entity. Oh, no, different entity. This is prepared by National Surveyors. Norbert Therian, as registration number is number 1739, and this is dated 8/8/22. And again, this is the proposed site plan. You want us to insert that application number, Larry? Or- Okay, we can get that later. Now, I'm sorry, apologize for the applicant, either the engineer or the attorney.
Good evening, board members. For the record, my name is Nicholas Goodyear. I'm the attorney here on behalf of the applicant presenting this application. As indicated, the subject parcel is located on Menden Road. It's on the northeast side of town. The assessor's plat is Plat 3, Lot 289. This is an existing non-conforming lot of record. It's been held by the current ownership in one form or another for approximately 35 years. We're seeking relief concerning the area, which doesn't meet present-day requirements, and also front and rear yard setbacks. In terms of the area requirement, obviously, that is certainly a pre-existing condition that would not be the applicant would not be able to meet. The front and rear yard relief that we're seeking from this board, if you look at the site plan, the proposed single-family home has been what we characterize as intelligently sited. We're maintaining a 28-foot setback from the road, certainly consistent with the intent of the zoning ordinance. And this is bordering the city of Woonsocket, so the applicant actually owns the property to the east in Woonsocket, located behind where we're proposing to put the structure. So it's the intention to, if once approved, deed the two parcels to a potential buyer. This board's quite familiar with the standard applicable. I can hit the high points here. Obviously, the property is uniquely configured. Without the dimensional relief, the applicant would not be able to situate a single-family home. Again, the home's been designed to comport with the neighborhood. It's not, excessively large. It's approximately 1,200 square feet, very typical for the town. It's the intention to have access off of Mendon Road, not utilize the paper street that's immediately to the north, which is Welcome Street. Again, the spirit of the zoning ordinance has been observed by trying to meet all the setbacks to the extent possible, and maintaining to the furthest degree of front yard setback while situating the residence in North Smithfield on the subject lot.
If you could, can you, for the record, can we please just define again that the two parcels are held in separate legal entities by the same person, but legal separate entities?
Yes, that's accurate. The applicant is listed as Mr. Mezzalella. He is a member, I believe it's a single member LLC. Liz Development owns the parcel, and the applicant owns the parcel in Woonsocket.
But for the record, what either owner decides to do with the two parcels, if the relief is granted, is of no import to us because they're two legally separate lots.
I don't disagree with that.
No, I'm just stating for the
Right,
record.
and obviously it's the intent, as I indicated, it's the intention to deed the parcels, both being in different jurisdictions, different towns, to a potential buyer. Obviously, when you look at the lot in Woonsocket, it's heavily wetland, so to speak. So and it's on an undeveloped road in Woonsocket.
But for the record, it's two legal addresses in two different towns.
Right. I'm not sure if we could pull the plan up on.
No, I think we're fine. I just wanted to clarify that for the record. And can you also indicate, I think all members, we've dealt with enough pre-existing nonconformities. There are two right at Bryden and Elizabeth that we dealt with less than 2 years ago. So we're quite familiar with non-conforming pre-existing. But why is it that, please explain why you feel the deck is only 1.4 feet from the property line? Why does that deck need to go there?
Well, the deck there, and again, understanding what the intention is concerning the lot in Woonsocket, we, from planning perspective and design perspective, that would be an extension of the backyard of this property as it sits, give the potential owner the most privacy. In addition to that, the applicant doesn't own the adjacent parcel, which is owned by the Mr. and Mrs. Capistran in Woonsocket. So we're intentionally trying to avoid any impact that might have on the neighbor in Woonsocket, although that lot's undeveloped as well.
But why can't the deck go off the gable end walls?
It certainly could. It certainly could go to the south, I believe.
Assuming I'm looking at the gable end wall being left and right as we're
Right.
looking at the plan.
Yeah, it certainly could go to the south. However, that would just be a little less private in terms of the traffic on Mendon Road. I think if you looked at most properties developed along Mendon Road, if there is a deck or a backyard patio area, it would be traditionally to the rear of the property, and that's why it's been designed that way. If it came down to a condition of approval or denial, I think I could speak with, as I mentioned, I have the applicant here and another representative, and we could make a determination that this board does not think that, for instance, it's the least relief necessary what we're requesting.
Well, I mean, it appears that you're asking the board to assume, when it makes a finding in your favor, if it were to, that because the land is reported to be sold to one party, then it's a moot point. But you're asking us to make that assumption, and I don't know that, I know I have an issue with it because we could move it to either gable end wall, and then when you do execute the sale, if and when you do, you could always come back to the zoning official, or that line would go away if you wanted it to go away, or.
Technically, that line doesn't go away.
It doesn't
though.
go away because it's a different jurisdiction, but.
Right.
It might be a whole different situation if it's all in common, so that's
Right.
my point. Members can speak freely when the time comes, if you're finished now, pretty much?
Pretty much, I do think, and I'll speak to my client very briefly, but I believe as the applicant and owner of that parcel, he may be inclined to stipulate to a condition that that parcel be included in the sale to a potential buyer, but again, I have to speak with him briefly. In terms of locating a deck to the other side, we wouldn't need a variance in that case. For the deck, it would reduce the amount
You're gonna need a variance no matter what.
on the rear
But
yard,
deck,
yeah.
When we're talking about expanding a nonconformity, you have an implied right to build the structure because it's pre-existing, but I don't think any legal person is gonna tell us that a deck is a necessity. A house is a necessity, but a deck isn't, so members can speak freely. If you wanna take a moment, you
Sure.
can consult. And then we can engage you further.
Sure, well,
Or-
if any other questions too, I guess at this point, is that the
Well, we
primary
can either
focus?
let him talk to, this gentleman is
Yeah.
you can get up, or Mr. Melzello is the owner, is that who you're gonna engage?
Either one of them. Derek. Mr. Derek Mezzalella.
Okay,
Might as well swear you in.
please raise your hand, we don't have a stenographer. Just indicate that your testimony is gonna be accurate, to truth and nothing but the truth, and give your name and address to the woman to the right, to your left.
Derek Masalello,
You're right.
4 Fox Place, Providence, Rhode Island, 02903.
You'd
Go
like-
ahead.
You'd like to build the deck to the rear, because that's
Yes.
traditionally what you see.
Yes, I mean, if you're
Make
looking at
more
it
marketable.
without taking into the legal considerations and the relief, we think it sets well on the lot. But as Nick said, we're open to other suggestions based on, what the board as a whole determines is in the best interest. We want to work with you guys. It's not a deal killer by any means.
Okay. Questions, members?
Like
of this property, of this building, 24 by 42, is that correct?
Yes.
Does that include a garage, or is that just the building itself?
That includes the garage.
Okay, and then you have 2 floors? That's one not being in the
Yes,
basement?
this is a raised ranch.
Raised ranch, okay. So you guys have it listed at, the 24 by 42 would be 1,008 feet, and you guys have it listed as?
I believe there's a.
1,150 because of the garage.
overhang in the front, which is depicted on the plan very, very,
Yeah, you can
Yeah,
see that.
yeah.
you can see the hash mark.
Okay.
And now it appears that the location, less the deck issue, is about where you would want it. If you moved it, looking at the drawing, if you moved it to the right, you're really not doing anything because the width of the lot seems to be pretty consistent. So this appears to be optimal for you, which is great. Okay. Any other members with questions?
I'll just make a comment. There's other houses that are on that road. I was looking at them, and, you know, they're all bigger than this house. I mean, the smallest house close to them is 1,360 square feet, and you got a house that's 2254, 2618, 1942, 1666, so they're not looking for something that doesn't fit in the neighborhood.
Yeah, that's accurate, and it's also, as we said, just at Bryden and Elizabeth, we had approved 2 lots on 2 pre-existing nonconformities. Does anyone else take issue with the location of the deck? You do?
I do.
Okay, all right. And one quick question for our council. Because it's 2 legal addresses in 2 different cities, municipalities, the relief is the relief. The line doesn't go away, as council indicated. So we can't assume anything other than our normal course of action, which is whether or not we agree with a 1.42 setback.
Just to be clear, you're asking me whether we can make assumptions about the city of Woonsocket.
No, we can't assume whether the applicant and the owner of the abutting property, the neighbor, the common property, whether they're going to sell both properties to one person, and even though that line will still exist as a matter of law, but it will be invisible as a matter of function because it will become one lot, we can't assume that that's going to happen. So we have to rule based on the 1.42 and whether we find that to be acceptable.
Well, let me answer that this way. I think you have to accept the fact that there's the city of Woonsocket, which is a different municipality altogether with its own set of rules, but you have to rely on the evidence that the applicant's putting before you tonight. The applicant's telling you that there are these 2 lots, and this deck is gonna have a setback on it based upon the wetlands in the other lot, and that's the evidence that's on the record before you. That's what you have to rely on. In other words, you have to be very careful about forming assumptions. Assumptions are what get people into trouble. They get lawyers into trouble, and they get members of boards into trouble. So I say to you with a caveat, don't make any assumptions. Take the evidence on its face value as it's presented to you tonight.
No, I understand, but that works both ways. So for further clarity, we see that the wetlands are flagged, right, on the neighboring property. Could a house be built, you're landlocked because Welcome Street, if it were developed, is the frontage, and the wetlands appear to go right through it? So are you going to go on the record and indicate that for all intent and purpose, lot 76 is non-buildable, if you will?
Yeah, I believe the adjacent lot in the city of Woonsocket, and I would agree with your solicitor that I can't assume that the DEM won't make any changes in terms of wetlands regulations, but I would assume that they're going to become potentially more stricter as opposed to more lenient.
Well, they are now.
Yeah.
They just became more strict, more
so,
restrictive.
For, you know,
Okay,
I
but
think that's a safer assumption. So we can move that, and I believe if we could maybe short circuit it, that the applicant is amenable to the deck being located to the south. It seems like that would avoid,
That removes the heartburn.
yeah.
I think that would satisfy, certainly me, I assume other members would be satisfied by that. So if we can agree, we'll make that a condition upon, and as
Yeah,
we're
I think it
looking.
would just reduces
Run
the
that-
relief.
That by me again, Bob.
So the deck, as you're looking at the site plan,
Right.
the deck would pivot to the left and then go off the corner of the left end wall as you're looking at the drawing?
In which case, yeah, in which case we wouldn't need a side yard variance because we'd be within the building envelope, and the rear yard relief would just be
Becomes,
dropped 10
yeah,
feet, so to
it
speak.
becomes 10 feet instead of 1.42. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. We'll make that as I guess we'll just
Condition, right.
condition that we modify. Okay. All right, I think we can, what we can do now is we'll keep, you gentlemen, we're
Mr.
good for
Chairman?
the time being. Hold on.
When you talk about the deck, moving it, are you moving it to the left or to the right, looking at the site plan?
Looking at the site, it would go to the left towards Welcome Street, correct?
So with that,
No, I think we'd put it
Because if you,
to the right towards Bryden,
Oh, I
because we would be in the, you're right.
because if we go to the left, then you're gonna be encroaching again into the
Yeah,
setback on
into
that
a
side.
front yard setback.
I looked at it and it didn't register.
Yeah, I was understanding it that it's gonna go to the south, as was first implied. That takes away this extra, the relief and drops it down as you analyzed it, right? Yeah.
Okay, and that takes you out of the 40-foot setback, that's correct. My omission there. Okay, you gentlemen can sit if you'd like. We'll leave open the applicant. Is there any members of the public that would like to speak? One at a time, please go to the podium, raise your right hand. Hold on, you'll have your moment. If you could, raise your right hand and speak clearly to the stenographer, to the secretary.
My name and address?
Yes, please.
My name's Dennis Trajari. I live on 196 Mendon Road in North Smithfield.
Go ahead, sir.
I am
He's-
absolutely
Just give me an opinion.
perplexed at I'm a butter to this, what I believe is these properties. And I would like to know, is there a way I can have access to what you people are talking about? Because I have no idea how this is going to affect my property. And I'd just like to know, actually, I have no idea what we've been talking about. And is there a way I can get access to the same information that you people are talking about? For roads,
You're more than happy to come forward and a member can give you a copy of the plot
is there
plan.
something that I could keep?
You can go to the zoning official and get the information, but I should clarify, just so that you understand what we're doing here.
Right,
The proceeding is entirely legal. We're talking about a parcel of land that's right on Mendon Road,
right,
that at the time the zoning maps were made and overlaid, it was non-conforming.
right,
So it's defined as pre-existing, non-conforming.
right,
Therefore, it's in your district, which is 65,000 square feet, meaning normally you can only build a house with a 65 square foot lot. But when you have a pre-existing non-conformity, the owner has the rights to develop the property. And that's what this application is about. The applicant has to come to us, the zoning board, to seek
Right.
relief for the setbacks because the physical site is too small to meet the 40-foot and 25-foot.
right.
But there is no question that the applicant, along with anyone else who owns a pre-existing nonconformity, within reason, has the right to build a house,
Okay.
if it's zoned for residential. So this is an entirely legal proceeding.
Right,
You weren't necessarily, it wasn't a given that you needed to see this. This is a
Right.
document, it's a site plan that was submitted, which is necessary because we can't rule on anything without this.
Right.
And this shows the proposed location of the house.
right,
And then they come to this board reviews it and engages them in conversation as we have. But for your own benefit, if you'd like to take a look at one of the members' maps, you're more than happy to. But I just wanted to indicate that there is nothing, I don't know if we have it. Do we have a copy of the plot plan?
I'm not necessarily saying I'm opposed, but I'd like a better understanding of what's taking
Well, sure,
place.
what you can do is, if there are other members of the public who'd like to speak while they're speaking, you feel free, you can come forward, a member can show you, just do
Yeah.
it quietly. Why don't you go see the zoning official if you could?
These fellows actually live in that area, they're concerned also.
I understand, but they can speak if they'd like, but if you want to, walk over to the desk and the zoning official can show you the proposed location. And while you're doing that, go ahead. While you're doing that, if anyone else wants to speak, please come to the podium. We'll just take one moment. Okay, we want to try to get things back on the road here, gentlemen. Okay. Okay, any other members want to speak? Okay, do the same thing, sir. Please raise your right hand. Or you're not testifying, you're just
No.
giving your opinion. Just identify yourself.
My name's David Bliss. I own 38 Welcome Street.
Please.
My thing about what's going on here is, it was perk test a long time ago, and it was basically a non-buildable lot because there's aquifer underneath there. There's actually a pipe that runs through that existing lot where he is, that goes all the way through my kind of paper driveway and then goes out to the wetlands. It's all wet over there, and it just runs like through the wintertime.
I don't see an easement listed on the site plan, though.
I don't see his name on the,
Yeah, it's Welcome Street.
okay,
This is Mendon Road.
so Dennis just
I'm
spoke, right?
right here.
Okay,
So I come to the end of Welcome Street, and then it's all wetlands.
Yeah,
Now,
so-
this right here already
Right
has a perk
here.
test. You're out there.
yeah,
Well, it's showing it's back there,
no,
because that's Woonsocket right there.
Okay, hold on, gentlemen, one at a time. We're not having a conversation here.
No, they're explaining to me. I'm just trying to get this right, you know?
Well, I need to clarify. The perk test is relevant to you, and it should be relevant to the
But-
let me finish.
Go ahead.
It should be relevant to the applicant, but it really isn't relevant to us. If the owner takes a perk test and he fails, that's between him and the building officials. We
No.
have no
I get
concern
that.
about
There
it.
was a study done. Did you get, I mean.
No,
I
it's,
know-
again, it's not relevant.
All right.
It could be underwater, all due respect,
Yeah,
just
I
understand.
getcha.
The property could be underwater. If they seek relief, our job is only to grant them the relief if it's applicable. If they can't build anything, that's between them and the building commissioner and the DEM.
And the DEM.
They
I
have a
getcha.
long way to go.
All right.
If
It's
there's
okay.
an issue with wetlands that you feel is inappropriate, that's another level of jurisdiction.
Right.
We cannot get involved in that.
No,
But you will be
You're just doing the
protected.
building. That's
All
it.
we're doing is granting
Variance
them.
for a building.
No, we're just granting them the right to build if it is legal in the eyes of the DEM and the building department. That's the long and the short of it. So we don't really want to debate this because it's a road to
It's all
nowhere.
right. I just had a question,
Yeah.
that's all.
No, I understand. I just need you to understand.
28 feet off the road? There you go. It's
Okay, are
28
we
feet
good?
off your road.
Just on my end,
28 feet off
my-
of Mendon Road.
Right.
Right, we're not
In
using
front.
Welcome Street at all.
in front of me.
That's what I was concerned if there
All right,
was.
one at a
A
time,
new
please.
road
Gentlemen,
or-
gentlemen, you have to speak to us.
Okay, so,
If you have a question, we'll direct it to the
Okay.
applicant.
so this, all right, now I have an understanding of what we're doing here. Okay, all right, so that's fair enough.
Okay, I just, all due respect, well, we needed you to understand what our job is legally. And then respect of each of you as a landowner and a resident, you're no different than us and we're no different than you. But we're obliged to do things by the letter and that's what we're trying to do.
And one other question. I heard you reference to another meeting, the 25th of, in October.
Correct.
It will be similar issues here in that meeting?
That you can talk to the zoning official, he can send you the information if you want to attend, but
And
that's,
is that open to the public also?
every meeting is open to the public. You don't have to be an abutter to attend any zoning meeting.
Yeah, actually, my concern was my understanding was all different. This is good that I could see this map.
Good. And it is public record, so you can go and see the zoning official and he'll make a copy if you want it
That
because.
would be excellent.
Yeah, you can see him anytime in his office. He'll make you a copy. You're entitled to a copy.
Right. It's like I say, it's just I'd like a full understanding of what's
Sure.
happening.
Yep.
That's all.
And if it's of any use to you gentlemen, you can also look in the zoning book what defines a pre-existing non-conforming parcel. And then that gives you the explanation of why we're doing what we're doing. Okay, thank you. Any other members of the public want to speak? Okay, a motion to close public comment?
I'll make a motion to close the public comment.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, aye. Okay, I think at this point, we can probably close conversation or presentation from the applicant. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to close the applicants.
Motion to close, second?
A second.
Okay, we have a second. So we'll go into deliberation. Before we do that, Chris, would you mind starting to draft? Gail, normally does that, but in advance of our deliberation,
The
if you
motion
could start to draft the
approve.
motion. And again, all of our motions are always in the affirmative. Doesn't mean that that's what the vote is, but we always do things in the affirmative and then vote accordingly. Okay. Well, I had made some notes. And again, we're going by, I'll just run through the 9.3 variance approval standards. And we should be mindful that the applicant has already agreed to relocate the deck that's noted on P5 to the Bryden Street gable end wall of the building, the Bryden Street 24-foot wall. And then what we should do is probably, if the application is approved, then we would ask that you get your surveyor, get National to submit a revised plot plan showing the relocation, okay? Well, 9.3.1, that the hardship from which the applicant seeks relief is due to the unique characteristics of the subject land or structure and not to the general characteristics of the surrounding area, and is not due to a physical or economic disability of the applicant. We've clarified it. It's quite clear that this is a lot is a non-conforming lot of record, pre-existing. So yes, the hardship, almost by definition, is unique to this parcel and subject property because it is a pre-existing non-conformity. And a 65,000-foot requirement, we have 13,256. And there is no apparent physical or economic disability of the applicant. B, 9.3.1B, that the hardship is not the result of any prior action of the applicant and does not result primarily from the desire of the applicant to realize greater financial gain. There is no prior action, clearly. Financial gain, this is a commercial application, if you will, so clearly financial gain is the primary objective. However, we encounter this virtually every time we have a commercial variance application, so you can't put too much weight on that. There's no other way to do it other than if he were to build his own house there. 9.3.1C, that granting of the requested variance will not alter the general character of the surrounding area or impair the intent or purpose of this zoning ordinance or the comprehensive plan upon which this ordinance is based. It clearly does, but then again, it doesn't. Will not alter the general character. It does in the simplest definition because it's a smaller house on a small lot. But the houses in that area vary in size. And we also know that we had referenced that in the neighboring neighborhood, which is partly part of all the same neighborhood on Bryden at Elizabeth, we had two non-conforming lots of record that 2 homes were built on. And then we also had that very small house at the corner of Elizabeth and Smith that we had the garage, which was also a non-conformity.
Can I just add,
Go
Mr.
ahead.
Chairman? Also, 3 lots that are right around that, a couple of them are adjacent. They're all under the 1.5 acreage. One's at 0.58, one's at 1.2, and one's at 9.2. So,
Okay.
it's just more food for thought.
So it is, it will not alter the general character is what we're kind of summarizing. D, 9.3.1D, that the relief to be granted is the least relief necessary. Originally, I did have issue with the deck because I felt that it was an overreach. The house footprint, we know that I believe those other 2 properties on Bryden were about 1,000 and they were single story. And this is about 998 with 2-story or a ranch. And I think with the deck being relocated to the Bryden Street side, I think it's reasonable to conclude that it's the least relief necessary. E, which is 9.3.1E, that granting the variance requested will not confer on the applicant any special privilege that is denied by this ordinance to other land, structures, or buildings in the same district. I don't know that you can define it as a special privilege because the only reason it's special is because it's a nonconformity pre-existing. So in essence, it's not special because it is allowed because it's a pre-existing nonconformity. And as we noted, again, there are other properties that are small and that have been approved, so. 9.3.2A is not applicable, that deals with use variance. 9.3.2B, in granting a dimensional variance, that the hardship that will be suffered by the owner of the subject property if the dimensional variances is not granted shall amount to more than a mere inconvenience, which shall mean that there is no other reasonable alternative to enjoy a legally permitted beneficial use of one's property. The fact that use may be more profitable or that a structure may be valuable after relief is granted shall not be grounds for relief. Counsel for the applicant has indicated, and I think all members accept the fact that without the variance, because of the nonconformity, no residence could be built there. So it would amount to more than a, quote, mere inconvenience. Any members want to add anything else to the deliberations? That's all I had.
Good, no, I'm good.
Not hearing, do we have a motion to make the, oh, well, why don't we do that? If Chris,
Sure.
since you wrote it, if you'd like to make the
Yeah, I'll
motion.
take a wing at it. I make a motion to approve application number, leave that blank, dated 8/12/2022 of Joseph Mozzarella pertaining to premises 0 Minden Road, seeking a dimensional variance of the front and rear setbacks as set forth in table 5.5.1 of section 5 for an RA district.
I think I would add the lot and the plat of that, that's all.
Yeah, you can add that, yeah, lot, AP3, lot 289.
Okay, so it's 0 Minden Road,
Yep.
assesses plat 3, lot 289.
Yeah, and then we should note that contingent upon the P5 site plan, the deck being relocated to the Bryden Street side of the building.
Okay, said motion is subject to constructing the deck on the Bryden side deck of the property.
It's not, yeah, the Bryden side elevation, end wall of the property. Yep. That's
Mr.
a
Chairman,
structure.
just a point of housekeeping, I respectfully to Chris, did you say Joseph Mezzalella? I believe it's Vincent Mezzalella in the
Okay.
application.
I'm sorry, Vincent.
And, excuse me, we can just add the application, that's just an
Number later.
administrative thing.
Right.
Okay, do we need to hear it again?
Yes.
Okay, from the top.
I make a motion to approve application number blank dated 8/12/2022 of Vincent Messalella pertaining to premises 0 Mendon Road, assesses plot 3, lot 289, seeking a dimensional variance of the front and rear setbacks as set forth in table 5.5.1 of section 5 for an RA district. Said motion is subject to the construction of the deck on the Bryden side of the property.
Everybody good?
I'll second that.
What was the date? 8/12?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the signature date. Okay, all right. We have a second. Okay, we'll take a roll call vote, please.
Tiffany, what do you?
Excuse me, what? 5 only, yes.
Mr. Najarian?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes?
Mr. Pascarello? Yes. Mr. Marcantonio? Mr. DeZiel?
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes. Best of luck with your project.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
A motion to adjourn, a second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you.